welcome to HXGN TV. I'm Jay Pongonis. Today we're going to talk about smart cities. I'm joined by Ron Cook from the City of Edmonton. Welcome, Ron.
Thank you, Jay.
Wouter Brox from Imagem in the Netherlands.
Thanks, Jay.
And Rajan, the Senior Vice President of Genesis International. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
So, smart cities are one of the trends today. It's all about creating a city that engages with citizens and learns how to efficiently use all of their assets. So we're going to talk with Ron first, from your experience in Canada. So Ron, I know that Edmonton has made a significant investment in going to a 3D environment. This fits perfectly with the geospatial theme of escaping the flatlands. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So what we've done over the last 3.5 years is create a considerable amount of information that's 3D based, 3D building model based. And what we've been doing is we've been interacting with that data in public engagement scenarios with the City of Edmonton, doing things like shadowcast studies, making our internal processes more efficient, but more interactive, more dynamic, and solving problems sooner, better, within that 3D environment.
It's a great way to get citizens to get a clear view of what's going on and what might happen, what could happen, right?
Exactly. We introduce massing models showing development potential with the surrounding landscape. We allow citizens and planners and designers to interact with that. We need to, we have a roadmap that takes us into things like augmented reality, virtual reality, and stronger citizen engagement in a 3D world. And I think for citizens and the planners themselves, operating in that environment makes it considerably easy to understand the subtle nuances of what is being proposed.
Another way to kind of have that subtle nuance communicated clearly is business intelligence. Can you tell me some about how Edmonton is using business intelligence?
Sure. We, for the last 1.5 years, we've been looking at traditional ways of business intelligence, looking at things like dashboards. We have a citizens dashboard and so on. But recently we've been exploring some other technologies that are present here and starting to leverage those and using interactive tool sets, interacting with dynamic slices of data to understand different processes that are going on in terms of the data that's being presented, but also just understanding and clearly articulating good evidence so that our organization can make sound decisions based upon that. And what we've done is we've started to integrate strong mapping interfaces through the BI tool set. And so it's just not pie charts, bar charts, and so on.
That's great. So making a move to a smart city is not something that just happens. You have to make a mind shift to do that. Can you talk about some of how the organizational changes have affected your move to smart city?
Sure, we've been, the municipality, the administrative corporation has been going through a considerable amount of redesign to gain efficiencies, to remove silos, and so on. And sustainable development has also been going through a redesign. In our organization, city planning, it has a unique perspective on this. I sit within a group called Urban Analysis, and we sit at the beginning of the value chain, where we're analyzing data, we're producing those pieces of evidence that are used throughout the rest of the value chain. And it's a slightly different perspective. It's not a stovepipe type of environment. We support city planning, but we also support other branches within that urban analysis framework.
That's great, thank you. And now, Wouter, I'm going to talk a little bit about smart cities in the Netherlands. So, when we spoke earlier, we talked about smart cities, about improving the quality of life for citizens. Can you talk a little bit about how that plays out in the Netherlands?
Yeah, I think we're always concerned about our quality of life, right? About our health and about our jobs, and we're working with a lot of municipalities in Holland, together, like the city of Edmonton just mentioned. There's a lot of things going on in the municipality. With the city of Almere, for instance, we implemented a smart economic zone, a smart map, which enables the municipality to relate, let's say, all the vacancies and the businesses to the jobs that are available and the unemployment there is, but also related to the parcels that are being leased out and the square feet of businesses that is available. And this is a multidimensional problem, right? You probably are familiar with that, and the smart maps enables you as a platform and as an app to investigate these multidimensional problems and actually come up with solutions that make sense. So for instance, a business owner that wants to settle in the city of Almere, they can now quickly analyze in which area, in which sector, and where the right employment is, and what's the right price for the parcels they want to settle. So within just a few minutes, they get an answer to their question, where previously they had to dig through all kinds of reports and all kinds of databases. That took a couple of weeks. So from a city perspective, but also from a citizen and a stakeholders like business owners perspective, these innovative and flexible smart maps are a big step forward in creating, improving the quality of life.
That's great. And so when we're talking about the quality of life, right, we're talking about not just citizens, right, but we're improving the quality in which the governments can govern. Can you give a little example of that?
Yeah, another example is that we have from the city of Nijmegen, where they run a smart emission project, and this project is about air quality and noise pollution. And usually the citizens complain about the air quality and noise, and the government measures it, and they say, well, this is what you feel, but this is what we measure, right? So there's a difference between the perceived value at the citizens and the actual values that are being measured. It's very technical. So the Smart Emission project was to bring the citizens and the government together and run this as a project, as a shared initiative. So the emission sensors, the air quality sensors, were distributed through the public, and they operate their sensors, and they become sort of citizen scientists, actually. And they all have access to all of the information. It's a joint sensor network, and that feeds into simplified information into a smart map where they can actually live see the air quality and the noise pollution. So I think that's a great example of how municipalities in a modern fashion incorporate the citizens to solve their problems together.
I think that one of the powerful things about that is the communication. Right, in the geospatial arena, right, we tend to create information, right, and we create it in such a way that we think it communicates, but we never stop to ask whether or not it does communicate. And so this is a way to get the citizens engaged and have that communication work both ways.
Yeah.
And now we're going to move to India.
Yep.
Can you tell me a little bit about the Smart City program in India? There's a huge push for smart cities in India. Can you tell us about that?
So the smart cities is a global phenomenon. It's no different what we have seen in US and Canada and Europe. And India is no different. So India also wants to be in a big way a part of the smart city mission that's going on globally. And in the last 2 years, the government has identified 109 cities as smart cities. They did it through a competition where all the city governments were asked to create what could be their plan for a smart city, and then through a competition, through complete kind of evaluation of their proposals, the government shortlisted 109 cities as smart cities. And that's where a lot of activity will happen. It's estimated that in the next 2 decades, about $2 trillion will be spent on building, renovating those cities into smart cities. And the reason for that being the urbanization that we are seeing. India was predominantly a kind of rural economy as we have seen it about, say, a couple of decades back. And from there, we are moving to a completely urban economy where by 2050, it's expected that about 50% of the urban population will be living in cities. And that's the reason where you look at comparisons between, say, Barcelona or New York or Singapore, why should some of the best cities in India be far behind from what these cities are? And that's the reason that the government is really trying to push through the Smart Cities program in a big way. They're doing it very kind of scientifically with a lot of inputs coming in from the citizens, from different stakeholders in the city governance system. And what we feel is that the geospatial technology, as we would see it, is going to be a kind of strong backbone to this entire process.
Can you talk a little bit about the pillars that were identified and how the geospatial technology supports those?
Yeah, so if you look at typically the smart city initiatives, it's governance, it's energy and environment, it is transportation, IT communications, education, health, energy. So these are like the pillars on which the complete smart city initiatives will kind of form a basis and build up from there.
So would you like to elaborate some on the smart solutions that were identified and where you're starting?
Yeah, so if you look at transportation, there are a lot of activities happening there, whether it is intelligent parking systems, smart parking. You look at people wanting to map complete parking areas so that you can use it very efficiently. You look at health, there is health, e-health, where people want to do health distribution equally among citizens. You look at energy, there's efficient use of energy using smart grids, smart metering, SCADA systems. So that's where you can kind of look at a lot of things being done on the energy systems also. So these are kind of good examples that we could look at.
That's great, thank you. Would you have anything you would like to add? Any closing statements?
Yeah, maybe just to add to one of these examples, which is very recent. So in a couple of weeks, Robbie Williams is going to perform in the city of Nijmegen. And recently one of the technical guys, one of the inspectors from the municipality said, well, why don't we just take a few sensors and put them around the arena where he's performing to measure the noise levels, because there will definitely be complaints about the noise from the citizens that live in this neighborhood, right? So I think that's a great example of how flexible the system is. And I think, while we're on TV, I think it's very good. Robbie Williams, if you're watching, be careful. Your noise levels are being monitored. So this is what you can do. It's live. It's flexible, and the sensors are flexible, and the smart map is flexible to adopt that, and it's open to the public. And I think that's how smart city initiatives grow. It's like these small initiatives that together they're all connected. It's not like this big one solution that we implement. It starts small, but now we can do it. The platform is scalable, and it's very exciting.
That's good. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you would like to watch more episodes, please tune in to hxgntv.com. And thank you for joining me, Ron. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Wouter, thank you.
My pleasure.
And Rajesh, thank you. Thank you very much.